Tiffany, how are you doing?
Hey, James, I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. And I got to tell you, Mariah was the one that stood out the most for me in
Uh,
this show because she was just there was such a presence about this woman. But I got to ask you, and this is the best way I can think to ask, is she more of a hard ass or is she a badass or both? I can't really tell.
I think she's a badass. Yeah, and I'll leave that up to everyone else to decide how they feel about her.
This family, I was talking to Graham about this, or Grantham. This was one of the more interesting family dynamics that I think I've come across in TV or in books or anything. It's really crazy. How would you actually kind of describe the dynamic between these siblings?
Well, I have two brothers myself, so for me, it's wildly familiar. I like a lot of the relationship stuff between the siblings. Um, it ebbs and flows, right? They fight hard, they love hard, they play hard, and they ride hard for each other.
So, people have complicated relationships with their parents. And I mean, when you have Judge Oliver Garland as your dad, that's certainly something that is a looming presence over you. But do you feel like it, do you feel like maybe she tried to not necessarily follow in his footsteps, but maybe tried to impress him, or was it one of those things where that was just something that drove her more than anything else to become successful?
100%. I mean, I do think it is in her nature. I think that she is naturally a driven person. Driven to succeed, driven to fulfill every single dream, on her checklist. And but I also do think, yeah, she's very much a daddy's girl and very much wants to please. And I think there's, this added layer of her father himself being so incredibly successful in his own career. And like the presence of that and kind of that casting such a long shadow for the children of highly successful parents. Because I do think, especially if you're already prone to perfectionism or to put that sort of pressure on yourself, it just really, what's the word I'm looking for, exacerbates that.
No doubt about it. Now, this is in the trailer, so I think we could talk about this. Mariah, she's the one that when everything goes down, something's not right about this. Something stinks about this. So, what do you think it was about her that she was kind of the one that said something's not right here?
I think it's honestly a mix of intuition and avoidance. I think a woman's intuition is undeniable, and I think she's, keenly aware of the people around her. She's a journalist, so so much of her life and her career has either naturally or furthers this sort of desire of like looking at things with a closer lens, or have we actually explored all the different angles of this?
How much was Uncle Jack a part of this as well? How fun was it to kind of unpack that story throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, there are just really so many intricacies to this story. Um, and like I felt that about the book, and we certainly like deviate somewhat from the book. But I feel like our writers and our show writer Sherman did such a great job of crafting this world where there's really just, I mean, so many overlapping stories and so many like individual stories and like that still have these fully developed characters. So yeah, there's just like there's a lot to explore in this universe.
You won't have to wait long because that exploration begins on Sunday, July 14th, MGM Plus, Emperor of Ocean Park. And let me tell you, when you see Mariah, you gotta feel that presence too. Tiffany, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
So much. Thank you.